Happy Camper Radio.
It is the Happy Camper Radio Show, episode 261. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no question about it, my friends. Hang around with us long enough, we'll make a happy camper out of you. Hello, Daniel.
Hey.
Good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
Daniel, on the show today, we're going to be welcoming Thomas Vaughn, and he has a website here with a lot of interest in the camping field.
Aha,
all
my
right,
favorite field.
It's called camperalerts.com.
Aha.
All right, and have you ever been busy trying to make a reservation and you have one particular campground or one site that you really want to get to, but you don't know when it's all available?
Yep.
Well, Thomas's website has the cure for that.
Aha.
We'll get him on the program and talk to him just a little bit. Happy Camper Radio, episode 261, coming at you right now.
Happy Camper Radio.
And, of course, the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store, Podbean, Myra Guide, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Spotify, just to name a few. Any major podcast directory, you can find the Happy Camper Radio Show right there. Of course, we're on the web 24/7 at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. And if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, look us up there. Daniel's looking for that little box, okay? It doesn't have his picture in there yet. No, it's right down here, Daniel. Look for the little pup tent, okay? You see that? Click on
Pup
that.
tent.
Yeah, and you'll be a
I was in a tent
subscriber.
not too long ago.
And a subscriber to the show, yeah. Oh, well, Daniel,
Yeah.
I had a very, very productive day yesterday.
Aha.
All right? You know, I have been trying to get to these grand design rallies.
Uh-huh. It's like
Right.
a concert.
I'll tell you what, it's
It's like a Taylor Swift concert.
all right, they're kind of spread out.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you really want to get in on one, you've got to be on your toes.
You got to know people, too, it
You've
seems
got,
like.
well, no,
I
not
feel like-
necessarily.
okay.
First of all, you got to have a grand design RV.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to get to these rallies. Number two, when the window opens up for you to purchase tickets, you better be right there by your phone. You better have your credit card information handy. You better have your VIN number to your RV, because that's how they're going to verify that you are a Grand Design owner.
Okay.
Well, yesterday at 11 o'clock, I sat by my phone,
Uh-huh.
and I waited for that window to open up.
Uh-huh.
And Daniel,
Uh-huh.
amazing, I got a ticket
Oh, good job.
to the Grand Design Myrtle Beach
Myrtle
Rally.
Beach. We've been talking about Myrtle Beach forever.
Oh, yeah. And that's going to be in March of 2024.
Ooh,
okay, so it's a
okay.
little ways off.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, here's the remarkable thing, Daniel. There were so many Grand Design owners wanted to get to that show. All right. The program sold out in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And somehow, I mean, this does not happen to me.
Yeah.
All right, but I did get a ticket there.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, and I am really looking forward to that. And, you know, come March of 2024, I'll be there for that rally. Come on home for a little bit, and then I'll be heading to the Southeast Georgia rally in Brunswick, Georgia, and that's going to be in April 2024.
Ooh.
And hopefully this will not be the last Grand Design rallies that I'll be attending.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
That's
so
awesome.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really pumped up and excited. I know there's a lot of folks right now on a wait list, and I do hope the window opens up for them to actually get there, because I want to take Sadie there. I want to meet a lot of folks. I want to make a lot of new friends.
Oh, definitely.
And this is actually going to be my first Grand Design rally
That's
that I'll
awesome.
be attending. So, yeah, I'll have microphone in hand.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, maybe, you know, if I keep persuading you, by the time you retire, you and Deidre can get a Grand
Yeah,
Design, and we can all
14
go to these rallies.
14 years. Maybe they'll make a Class B by that time.
Well, let's hope so. Well, Daniel, I'll tell you what, I am really excited to have Thomas here on the program, and he is the founder of camperalerts.com, and he has a lot to share with us on the program today, and we're going to go ahead and get him on the program right now.
Happy Camper Radio.
Thomas, welcome to the program.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
All right. Thomas, you have a new program here, relatively new. It's called camperalerts.com. And from what I understand, if you have a particular campsite in mind, and I know I myself personally, there's one or two that I always go back to, but you just never know when the window of opportunity will open up for you to book that site. You have a website called camperalerts.com that actually takes care of that for the customers, don't you?
I do. Yeah. It will do a few things. It does what you just said. You can also just search for a campground and just say, let me know if any site becomes available. But like you said, you can also drill down to a specific site, or maybe the way I like to use it is some of our campgrounds that we go to have, say, waterfront sites. Maybe there's 5 that are on the waterfront, and we like to kayak. So I'll select any of those 5. If any of those 5 become available, it will send me an alert. So there's lots of different options like that.
You know, I find a lot of people that go camping love to be right by the water, and I'm one of them. You know, at any time that I try to book a campground on recreation.gov, which is, one of the programs that, we feature here on the program constantly. I always try to get by the water if I possibly can.
I like to be by the bathhouse.
Why?
Because I don't use the bathroom in campers. You don't use the bathroom in campers. It's my religion.
Okay. So that would be an interesting question for you, Thomas. Would
near the bathrooms. That's what I want.
Well, there's nothing on the site that will specifically do that. But if you look up on say recreation.gov, find what sites are near a bathhouse, then you can select those when you're building an alert.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about recreation.gov, like that I have used in the past is they do have maps on there, and you can actually zoom in to see where the bathhouse is, where the nearest playground is, or the picnic pavilion, or whatever the case may be. But I'm a waterfront guy, so that's one of the first things I would definitely plug into your website.
Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit about Campers Alert, and how did you get started with this?
Sure. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I got my wife hooked on camping, and as soon as we were done with the first trip, she said, "Okay, when can we go again?" And so I started looking and realized that there's nowhere to camp. Everything's booked out, 6 months in advance as soon as they open up. But I'm a software developer, and I thought, I bet there's people that have to cancel for, life happens. There's lots of reasons, and I wonder if I can find a way to figure out when that happens and send myself an email. So I built that and kind of used it for myself for the first couple of years, and pretty much every campsite we booked was because of that program that I had written. And so then I started thinking, well, I bet there are a lot of other people that could use this service. Specifically thinking about maybe people that only camp once or twice a year, and maybe they don't have, they can't book 6 months in advance because just their jobs or whatever in life keeps them from being able to plan that far in advance. And I didn't want someone like that to not be able to camp because of their life circumstances. So being able to set an alert, find out when somebody cancels, and book, something at the last minute could be really helpful. So I built that and just started adding additional reservation systems. So now we're up to 5 different reservation systems that it can check. And we check anywhere from every 15 minutes to every hour, depending on which level of an alert that you get.
Okay, this does it automatically?
It does. It does it automatically behind the scenes. You don't have to do anything after you set up the alert. And it will, depending on which alert you get, it will send you an email or a text message. And what that does, we don't book any sites for you. What it is, what we do is monitor these sites, let you know when something's available, send you details on which site or sites are available, and a link to the reservation site. And for most of them, it will take you straight to the page where you need to make the reservation.
Now, how do the alerts come to you? Do the alerts come by email, text message?
Either one, depending on, we've got 3 different levels of alerts that kind of give you additional options. And the pro alert is the highest level, and it allows you to choose either email or text message as the delivery method. The other 2 levels will send an email.
Okay.
With the alert.
Now, does it matter if you're a tent camper, an RV camper, or motorhome? Anybody can use your site?
Anybody can use it, and we actually just released a big, basically version 2 of the site. So when I built this, we were tent campers, so it was kind of built with that in mind. And there weren't many RVers could use it, but there weren't the kind of filters that you need to be able to make sure that you get a site that's going to work for you. So version 2, what that did is add the option to set filters, so you can choose your equipment. So is it a tent or an RV or trailer? If you choose an RV and trailer, you can choose some additional options like the length of your rig, the whether you want hookups, what kind of hookups, full, electric only, electric and water, or just dry. And we take all those filters in and then only send you alerts based on what you chose. So if you chose full hookups and a site becomes available that matches everything else, but it doesn't have hookups, then we're not going to send you an alert. But then, if you don't care about that, then you don't set any filters and we'll just alert you on any site.
Oh, cool. Okay. What does it cost?
Yeah. So the 3 different levels of alerts are, the lowest level is checks once an hour, and it is $2. The advanced level, kind of in between, lets you choose, it checks every 30 minutes. It also lets you choose one specific site if you wanted to check for it. Like you said, you've got this one site that you love. Every time you go to this campground, you can choose that one specific site, and that one is $3. And then the pro level is checks every 15 minutes, lets you choose up to 5 specific sites, and also allows you to receive a text message alert instead of an email, and that one is $5. And these are one-time payments.
Okay, that sounds really.
That's one of the things that makes us different is that a lot of these other services that do something similar they're based on a subscription model, right? So they will charge you a certain amount per month or a certain amount per year, and you get more. Maybe if you camp a lot, that might be a better option. But some of these people only camp, once or twice a year, and paying $40 to be able to get, set one alert. Is not that great. So with camper alerts, you can buy individual alerts, so it meets your needs. And that's how that works.
Now, what if you don't find any sites available?
Well, I think the way I put it on the site is on the frequently asked questions on our site is I can't predict the future. So I don't know that whether or not someone will cancel. It does happen a lot. Like I said, I've been using this myself for over 3 years now. I think I can count on one hand the number of times that an alert just didn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, something opens up. But what you're paying for is a monitoring service. And so it is, we don't guarantee that something will open up. But like I said, most of the time something does.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds very interesting. And I can see where a service like yours could be really valuable to people who are really into camping, especially, if you camp a lot and you're retired and you have the time available to do that. I know specifically I've got, and Dan, like just on the last show, Daniel and I talked about, I've got one particular site right here in Georgia up on Lake Lanier that I've camped at already, and I'm going to be going camping there again in August. But it's the one site, and it's right by the lake. So, if you're a camper and you like going out there and you've got a number of different sites that you want to go back to, I guess we can provide all those dates to you, and you can start monitoring them for us, right?
You can, yeah. And one thing it just reminded me on the Pro Alert, one additional thing you can do that the other 2 levels can't is that you can choose 2 different date ranges. And the way that I've used that is, for example, on, say, Memorial Day weekend, you want to camp the whole 3 nights, but maybe you'd be okay with 2 nights versus nothing. So you can set an alert that checks both of those date ranges.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you have like 5 different campgrounds that you monitor, and I guess these are the larger ones like recreation.gov and Reserve USA. What are some of the others?
So the 5 that we monitor are recreation.gov, Reserve America, which does a lot of state parks, such as Oregon, Reserve California, which is all of the state parks in California, the Washington State Park System, which is just in the state of Washington, but it's all of those state parks. And then Yellowstone most of Yellowstone is through recreation.gov, but they have 5 campgrounds that are through a separate site called Yellowstone National Park Lodges, and that is the 5th one that we monitor.
That is super. Wow. So if somebody wants to go ahead and become a subscriber to your service, where do they go to do that?
So you just go to camperalerts.com and sign up for an account. And when you be sure that you'll add an email address as part of the sign up process. But if you think that you might add a pro alert at some point where you receive a text message, then you can go ahead and add your phone number as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it just asks, you just have to verify that you own that phone number by getting a text message and clicking a link. And that way it's set up so whenever you create the alert, you're ready to go. But that's it. And there's no subscription to sign up for or anything like that. You just, whenever you set up an alert, you'll pay for that individual alert. So that way, if you're only going camping, say once a month, you're not having to pay $20, $30, $40 a month to use the service. You're only paying when you need it.
So it's very economical.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us today about campersalert.com?
Sure. The other part of that version 2 update was what we call the Explore page. And what version 2 did was we pulled in data about all of these campgrounds from all 5 reservation systems. And you can search for a campground and view all the information about that campground. You can view all the individual sites at that campground. For any that have pictures on the reservation site, you can view those pictures. You can view individual amenities about each site. So what's the max vehicle length, all the things that go into filters, but then so much more. Like any details about that site, you can view directly on Camper Alerts. And the future is that we've got all this data, and now it's building out additional features. So some of the things that we have in mind are things like, is there a dump station at the campground? Is there, how far into the water? Just all these kinds of data points that we can provide some additional filtering on is kind of what the plan for the future is. Yeah,
and I can understand that. It would be, there's folks have a lot of questions, and like I was throwing some of them out here at you, on the show. That and hopefully, those questions will be answered by many of our listeners who are interested in your service, campersalert.com. Thomas, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being on the program. I know Daniel's been listening here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to get him into an RV. Okay, he's a pop-up guy, but I really think that sooner or later, him and his wife are gonna really break down and get themselves an RV.
I'll get a Class B. My goal is Class B. They're very popular out there out west because you can just, go. You're right there. You're in your car. Yeah. You're in your camper. So, yeah, I like that.
Well, Thomas, hey, thank you so much for being on the program, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thanks for joining us. All right, Daniel.
All right.
Okay, that was real interesting. I learned a lot, and, I can understand where a service like Thomas has would benefit people who go camping and camp on a regular basis. And, it's definitely something to check out. We'll have a link to it all week long on happycamperradio.com. And, of course, it's right down here in front of you. It's campersalert.com. Check it out right now. Daniel, it's time for our featured campground of the week. And that's right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
Daniel, I'd like to take a trip up to West Virginia sometime. Yes. And, I'll tell you what, there's probably a lot of lakes up there, but we're talking about some mountains. We're talking about some greenery. We're talking about some dense forest.
Yep.
Yes. And I don't think I'm going to be on the AT, but I'll tell you what, there's a campground up there that I'm really interested in, and I would consider this here. It's the Seneca Shadows Campground. It's part of the Monongahela National Forest. It's near Seneca Rocks. So let me pronounce that again. Seneca Rocks, West Virginia. And this campground right here overlooks scenic rocks and is surrounded by mountains on both the east and the west. Hiking and nature study at Seneca Rocks are just a couple of the popular activities in the area. The Norfolk Southern Branch Potomac River is nearby, making fishing a very popular pastime. I never asked you that question. Do you fish, Daniel?
I used to when I was a kid, and I didn't have to pay for it.
Well, that's the whole. Okay, I can see. Yeah, you got to get a fishing license. Yeah, now we hear from Daniel. Now we know the truth. Anyway, Seneca Shadows is a modern campground with flush toilets, lantern posts, picnic tables, and campfire rings. The large facility has a selection of walk-in tent sites, standard RV sites, and tent-only group sites. Loop C has electrical hookups, and get this, firewood is available for sale.
Aha.
Daniel, I have been to so many campgrounds
Yeah.
where they didn't sell firewood there, and you had to drive out of town, and you had to find a convenience store somewhere and hope that they had firewood. Why would you go camping if you can't have a campfire?
I agree. We usually pick it up on the way in there.
But no, I'm not saying that's the case with all of the campgrounds.
Yeah.
But, it's nice to be able to go there and, if you're locally, you can bring your own firewood, but, it's always good to purchase it right there at the campground.
I saw a wood vending machine at the campground one time where you put money in and you open the little thing and you get your wood. I thought that was really cool.
Only you come across things like that.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're a gadget freak, so I can totally understand.
You like gadgets?
I got to admit that.
You got a few gadgets.
Well, Daniel, I'll tell you what, this is a real interesting campground here, and if I ever get up to West Virginia, in fact, I'm heading up that direction here in about a week and a half from now. I'm going to North Carolina. And I talked about that on the show, and I have a lot to report on that when I get back.
Ooh.
Okay, but if I decide to go a little bit further up the road there, here's a campground I will definitely consider. It's the Seneca Shadows Campground, and it is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Skip and Daniel on happycamperradio.com.
One of these days, Daniel is actually going to sing that jingle.
Oh, yeah. That was me in the background. I'm one of the backup singers.
Well, folks, I'll tell you what, if you ever have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, I want you to get in touch with me, Skip, SKIP, at happycamperradio.com, or this guy right here.
Hey, it's Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Yeah, Sadie's role model.
Hey, she loves me.
Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Daniel, that's going to wrap up today's edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. It was a pleasure having Thomas on the program. And we've got a lot more programs ahead.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of camping trips, too. So looking forward to it, friends. Remember, folks, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly as I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us on the web. We're there 24/7 at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. And, of course, be a subscriber to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel, always a happy camper, most definitely. And you better believe it, friends, we're going to do our best to make a happy camper out of you. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper Radio.